everybody. Welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show on a rainy Thursday night in the Bay Area as we close out the week, get ready for the weekend. We're got a good show tonight. In fact, we got a lot on the show tonight. I tried to pack it in a little bit, and so it's going to be good. Tonight, as always, I want to hear from the viewers, but tonight especially because I got some ideas I'm going to throw out there, some trade ideas. We're going to talk about Joe Maddon. We're going to talk about the new hitting coach for the Giants. We're going to talk about the awards. So good stuff for me to hear from you guys. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to tonight. As always, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You know the comments, you know the drill. I do my best to get to you guys. But before we get started, I need to send out a very, very heartfelt thank you to all the viewers and the subscribers, because we have reached 10,000 subscribers this morning. We made it this morning. So we've reached 10,000 subscribers, and we've been doing this show for 6.5 months. We started right at the end of April, beginning of May. So 10,000 subscribers in 6.5 months. People in the YouTube world tell me that that's pretty good. So I'm proud of it, but I'm also even more so thankful to those 10,000 subscribers who are joining me on this long journey that I wasn't really sure what I was getting into when I got my own YouTube channel and got my own show, and really just started talking about the Giants and baseball and sports in general. And the reception has been great. And again, thank you very, very much. It is honestly humbling and greatly appreciated. So I just wanted everybody to know that. So let's just keep rolling. I got a couple goals in mind, numbers that I'd like to get to by the start of the baseball season. So we'll see if we can get there. But thanks again to everybody who has subscribed. So, all right, let's get started with our show. Like I said, we got a busy show tonight. It's going to be lots of fun. General managers meetings wrapping up in Las Vegas. Each team sends their big baseball decision makers down there, and they talk about trades and they talk about all kinds of fun stuff. But that's coming to an end today. The Giants and Tony Vitello continue to put together the coaching staff for Tony. And the big news in the last 48 hours, the Giants have hired a new hitting coach. His name is Hunter Mentz. Not Hunter Pence, but Hunter Mentz. What do you want to know about the guy? Another young guy. He's 41 years old. Last 4 years, he was the assistant hitting coach with the Toronto Blue Jays. Before that, he was a hitting coach in the minor leagues in the Blue Jays organization. There is a relationship with Vitello. Mentz played at the University of Missouri when Vitello was an assistant coach at the University of Missouri. So they've known each other for a long time. Mentz played in the minor leagues for the Rays, I believe it was. Or no, it was the Marlins. It was the Marlins, excuse me. He was a left-handed hitting outfielder. So he is the new man in town as the hitting coach. I know a lot of Giants fans were not happy with the offense and kind of the approach and what the offense looked like. And I mean, not necessarily happy with the hitting coach, Pat Burrell, that was here. So this is the new guy. And I think this is interesting. Again, it's another thing that's going to be really, really fun and interesting to watch, at least the way I look at it. Because we saw firsthand and we heard a lot about the Toronto Blue Jays and their hitting philosophy. And we saw it firsthand because they made it all the way to the World Series and we all watched a lot of their games. And I thought that this philosophy of theirs, which was put the ball in play, make contact, but let's make hard contact. But it showed to me let's put the ball in play, okay? And they had a nice lineup. Blue Jays had a very good lineup. So the question is, how much did that make contact philosophy help them? Well, I mean, it had to help, right? Got them all the way to the World Series. And statistically, the Blue Jays, they were, let's see, what did I have them? They were 4th in the league in runs scored. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, 4th in the league in runs scored. They had the best batting average in baseball. They had the best on-base percentage, second fewest strikeouts. So that's where that comes in. So that's why this is very interesting to me, because the philosophy that Mentz is coming from and that he taught to a Blue Jays lineup is exactly what I think Buster Posey and his people want the Giants to be better at, right? I think that's fair to say. The Giants were 17th in the league in runs scored. Their average was very low as a team, but on base percentage, they were 20th, slugging 25th. So they got a long ways to go, offensively. But they have the people there that are pretty good hitters. So there is a foundation. I think we can all fairly come to an agreement on that. But can this philosophy of let's put the ball in play, which the Blue Jays use to their advantage, can this get taught or brought into the big league dugout of the San Francisco Giants? That will be the job of Hunter Metz. If he can do that, then I don't think there's any question that this will be you will see a significant improvement in the Giants offense. And it is an area that needs significant improvement. There's absolutely no question about it. But the players themselves have to buy into this. And I hope they see, these players are smart. I hope they see what the Blue Jays did and how their approach worked. And whatever Mentz is throwing out there, he at least has the backing of, listen, it worked in Toronto. But the players have to buy into this. Okay. I think that's the single most important thing. You can have the greatest ideas in the world, but if nobody listens to them, then it's not going to matter. And I looked at the guys, the strikeout guys who I think we all, feel like maybe they strike out a little bit too much for the Giants. And I think we can all agree on this. Devers, Willie Adames, Ramos, Bailey, Chapman. Those are the guys who strike out a fair amount, right? I think that's fair. Let's start with Devers, because he was an interesting case this year. The numbers were there: 35 homers, 109 RBIs. But for some reason this year, he struck out 192 times. That was 45 more strikeouts than he's ever had in a season in his career. That's a significant number, okay? His strikeout percentage this year was 29%. In his career, it's 22%. So for whatever reason this year, Devers struck out a ton more than he has in the past when he was with the Red Sox. And keep the strikeout percentage in mind, because I'm going to throw some of those numbers out there. But the major league average for strikeout percentage, major league average across the board, is 22.5%. So keep that in mind as we talk about this, okay? So Devers in his career has been right about the strikeout percentage, right about at average for major leaguers. But for some reason this year, it jumped all the way to 29%, okay? Willie Adames, he's going to strike out a lot. He had a career high 179 strikeouts this year. I say career high, but he's had some other years where the numbers were pretty close. But his strikeout percentage this year was pretty even with what it has been in his career. He is going to strike out, okay? Elliot Ramos is an interesting case. He struck out 158 times this year. But his strikeout percentage actually went down from last year to this year. It went from 26% to 22.7%. So that 22.7% on strikeout percentage is about the league average. So Ramos actually dropped his strikeout percentage a fair amount last year. That's a good sign. Can he do that again, right? Drop down again. Patrick Bailey, this has got to change. His strikeout percentage was 29%, 29.4 to be exact. That's ridiculously high for somebody who's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He knows it. You know it. I know it. Everybody in the Giants organization knows it. So that needs to change for somebody like Bailey. And Matt Chapman, another interesting guy here, 126 strikeouts this year. He did miss some time with injuries, but his strikeout percentage this year was 23%, which is just a shade above the league average. But the last 3 years, Chapman has dropped his strikeout percentage 28% in 2023, 24% in 2024, 23% this year. So he has actually been bringing his strikeout percentage down some. So I throw those numbers out at you just to say, hey, so those are the guys. Those are the guys who we all feel like, boy, they strike out a lot. You know, some more than others, obviously. But if that group can buy in to the let's make a little more contact philosophy of hitting that Mentz is going to bring, how much difference could they make? What if each one of those guys, each one of those 5 guys that I just mentioned, what if they struck out 25 fewer times next year individually? I don't know if that's possible or not. I don't know that they're going to think like that. But I think that would make a big difference. I think that would make a huge difference. And I think a guy like Devers, who for whatever reason went way up this year in strikeouts, I'm going to say that number will come down this year. Chapman's been bringing it down. Bailey has to do that. Keep that in mind as the winter goes on and we get to spring training. Can these guys in the Giants lineup, because they're going to be there, can these guys make a little more contact without taking away from the damage they do? Okay. So I think what you're looking for is, we saw too many strikeouts this year by the Giants, too many weak contact balls put in play. Exit velocity was very low as a team. So just not enough contact. And I think situationally, not much consistency with situational hitting. They'd have a good stretch, runners in scoring position, and then they would go dry for a long time. So there needs to be a little more consistency there. So that's what strikes me about what the Giants need to do offensively. And can this philosophy that Mentz is going to bring in get through to the players, and can it make a little bit of difference? Players can be stubborn, yes, but players also want to improve. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to, again, just something. I try to put things out there for you guys to think about, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting when this thing gets going, and we'll see if these changes can help, because I think that the Giants do need to make some philosophical changes offensively. So anyway, with Hunter Mentz in the fold, as they like to say, so the Giants coaching staff now has Jace Tingler, who's probably going to be the bench coach. They talk about, we're not exactly sure what he's going to be yet, but that's probably where he's going to go. Hunter Mentz, your hitting coach, and Oscar Bernard is going to be the assistant hitting coach. So Oscar Bernard, who's been with the Giants for a couple years, he is going to remain on the big league staff. So that's great news for Oscar Bernard, and he will be the assistant hitting coach for Hunter Mentz. So you got 3 new coaches. So there's still work to be done there, right? You still need a third base coach. You still need a first base coach. You need a pitching coach, an assistant pitching coach, maybe 2 assistant pitching coaches. Who knows? You may need another hitting coach. Some teams have 3 hitting coaches now. You need a bullpen coach. So there's still work to be done. But we know that you got Tingler, Mentz, and Oscar Bernard. So we'll keep a close eye on the additions that will continue to be made on this Giants coaching staff. So that's as updated as I can get you. But before we head on out to the rest of the show, let's get to our sponsors as always. Starting with Tilden Properties. As an investor, one of the best places to put your money is California's multi-family real estate. Do that with Tilden Properties. They're Bay Area-based, family-owned, and they build equity in the real estate market for you and quarterly dividends. Trust me, our family has invested with Tilden Properties, and it has been well worth it. It's tildenproperties.com. Go to their website. You can see their whole portfolio of what they own, and it's impressive. Give them a call at 8558. We're also brought to you by the good folks at the Carrick Real Estate Team. Since 1978, the Carrick Real Estate Team has been helping families buy and sell homes across the Bay Area with a legacy of client-first service. Whether you're moving up, downsizing, or buying that first home, they are there for you. Carrick Real Estate Team, they will guide you home. I've used the Carrick Real Estate Team. My brother has, my nephew has, my niece has, and no complaints here. They do their job. They do it well. They take good care of their clients. So give them a call at 925-548-4132. And we're also brought to you by Valone Insurance. Are you tired of being overcharged on your property insurance? Yeah, aren't we all? Valone Insurance has multiple options for your home and landlord property. Save big money on your property insurance. Call Kyle or Ron at Valone Insurance, 925-433-8271. Thanks, as always, to my great sponsors. And we're going to have a couple new sponsors coming in the very near future. All right, let's move on to the next item on our show. Actually, you know what? Let's do this item, and then we'll get to the comments about some of the stuff we talked about with the new hitting coach and about this segment we're going to do right here. So what do you guys think about this? Was this blown out of proportion? What Joe Maddon, the former manager, managed with the Rays and the Cubs and won a World Series with the Cubs, finished with the Angels. Good manager, he was let go by the Angels a couple years ago, actually 2022. So he's been out of managing for 3 years or so. What were your thoughts on the comments that he made about the hiring of Tony Vitello? Is this getting blown out of proportion? I have a couple, thoughts on it, but if you haven't, and I'm sure you've seen it, but I just have it on my phone here. I just want to make sure that I throw it out there before you guys make comments on it. But this is what Maddon said about the Giants hiring Tony Vitello. Quite frankly, I'm using the word insulting only from the perspective that it appears as though you don't have to have any kind of experience on a professional level to do this job anymore, this job being managing. When I was coming up, you had to have all that. You had to go through the minor leagues. You had to do the bus rides. I was a scout. I started in 1981. I finally got a managerial job in 2006. I mean, there was a rite of passage, a method to get to that point. So to think that somebody could just jump in there and do it, you took 20-some years to be considered qualified to do it, is kind of insulting. Having said that, Maddon continues on, I wish Vitello nothing but the best. Cover your you-know-what a little bit here. Because I watched videos of the guy and I could actually understand why it's perceived that he's ready to do something like this. So that's what Joe Maddon said. This whole thing, I don't know, who knows, but I do want to then read to you what Vitello said about it when he heard about it, just perfect. He said, I get it. I just wonder if he's still going to take my call because he was on my list of people that I wanted to call and seek out advice. That's a great response by Tony Vitello because it's sort of like, all right, whatever. So anyways, here's my thoughts on this. Former manager, old school. Could he be a little bit bitter? And because, a former manager, he's 71 years old, could he still manage? Absolutely he could. But he and other people, other managerial candidates maybe that are a little bit older are now being overlooked and younger guys are getting hired. Is that irritating to him? I don't know. It sounds like it certainly could be. He had a very good managerial career. He won a World Series with the Cubs. Got his start with the Rays. He had a lot of good years, and he did a lot of winning. He didn't do much in Anaheim, but did a lot of winning with the Rays. And again, he won a World Series in Chicago, which that's going to get him free meals for life in Chicago. But here's the thing: I don't know. His first managerial job in the minor leagues was 1981. That was 44 years ago. Okay. It's not the same. It's not the same. I mean, to say it should be, this is how I got started 44 years ago. And then to say it's kind of insulting that it's not, the process isn't that way anymore as much, and that makes it insulting to him. I don't know. I didn't think it was I thought it was a bad choice of words. And I thought him saying, but hey, you know what? I wish him luck. That to me, that's, I don't know. You said what you said, so, but it got me thinking, did Joe Maddon say this about Kevin Cash back in 2014? Kevin Cash, the longest tenured manager in Major League Baseball as of right now. Did he say anything about Kevin Cash? Was he insulted at that point about Kevin Cash? And I say that because Kevin Cash had no managerial experience in the minor leagues or the major leagues when he got the job in 2014. Did he say that about Aaron Boone in 2018 when the Yankees hired him? Was he insulted that the Yankees hired Aaron Boone? Aaron Boone had no managerial experience in the minor leagues or in the major leagues. He came from the broadcast booth. Did Joe Maddon, was he feeling insulted when in 2016 the Dodgers hired Dave Roberts? Dave Roberts, of course, a longtime player, coached a couple years, but Dave Roberts was never a manager in the minor leagues. He was never a manager in the major leagues. So was he insulted by that? Or, I mean, he was still managing in 2016. He was still managing in 2018. So you don't say anything. But now you're a former player or you're a former manager. You're out of the game, but you try to stay relevant in the game that you were part of, in this case, baseball. So what do? Maybe you throw silly comments out there, or maybe you make these bold statements out there just to get a reaction or to stay relevant in the game when you see younger guys taking over. This happens. Trust me, this happens. So maybe you throw some stuff out there, stay relevant so people don't forget about you. And then you get some reactions, and you don't really care about the reactions because your name's back out there and you're relevant for a short period of time. Could that be possible? I don't know. I think it's definitely possible. I just thought it was very strange. But, you don't always know what people's reasons are for saying, what they're saying. But I just thought it was a bad choice of words, and it was kind of unnecessary, really, I thought, from Joe Maddon. I didn't think he needed to do that, if that makes any sense. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's get into the comments. I want to see what everybody's thinking. Love my folks here, and I want to get to them. Let's see. All right. George says, hello, Glenn. I don't think the Giants should sign Eldridge unless it's for an ace in the starting rotation with either team. George, you're jumping the gun. That's our next segment. That's our next segment, George. And we're going to get to that. And I want to hear your response to some of my ideas. But so George is teasing our next segment. Bake That Dough says, I personally believe it may be difficult to change well-established veteran players. We're talking about the hitting coach trying to bring his, let's make a little more contact philosophy into the Giants lineup. But I do see hope for the long haul if this philosophy is preached from rookie ball on up. Well, that is definitely happening. And that's not something you just do in a couple months. That can take a year to two to turn and get your philosophies into the minor league system where all of your minor league players are abreast of it and the coaches are backing it up. That can take a while, but that will start to happen within the Giants organization because that's what they want to see more of. So I think that's a good way to look at it. It just sometimes takes a while. All right, let's see. We saw that one. Let's see. All right. All right. You know what? We're going to move on then. All right. Let's check. Let's go to my next segment, which is, you know what? I'm stepping out a little bit here for you guys. I think it's going to be I don't know if you guys are going to like this segment, but what I want you to do is I want you to just stay with me here, okay? So the Giants and Buster Posey have said, I saw an interview that Buster did at the meetings, I believe. And it said these were the three things that Buster was going to work on. He thinks the Giants organization and the big league team needs to get better at and what they want to try to improve on in the offseason. He said outfield defense, he said base running, and pitching. Okay, those are the three areas that they wanted to get better at. And if they can do that, they're going to be a better team. So that got me to thinking. And again, this is where I want you guys' feelings on some of the ideas I'm going to throw out there. What would it take for the Giants to think about trading Bryce Eldridge? Okay. And I'm not trying to throw something crazy out there. No, stay with me here. Okay. To get better outfield defense, better base running, or pitching, get some pitching. What would you have to do, or what would you have to get, or what would you want to get in a Bryce Eldridge trade? Okay. So just stay with me here. So what I did, and remember, Bryce Eldridge is a first baseman, DH first base, but he eventually will be a major league first baseman. Remember, Rafael Devers is signed for 8 more years. Okay. He's going to be your first baseman as long as he's capable of doing that. Not that's just reality. Okay. So here's my thoughts. I put together 4 guys that I wanted to see if you would make the trade for Bryce Eldridge with the idea of let's get better outfield defense, base running, or let's really improve our pitching. Okay. So here's the first one. Stay with me here. Would you trade Bryce Eldridge right now? We don't know if Bryce is ready for the big leagues. He's getting close, right? Maybe not quite ready, but would you trade him right now to the Cleveland Guardians for Steven Kwan? Straight up, 1-for-1. Eldridge for Kwan. Kwan's deal is he's 28 years old. He's a free agent after the 2027 season. You had him for 2 years, but that doesn't mean you couldn't sign him after that. Okay. He's been an all-star the last 2 years, 4 full years in the big leagues. You know we know Kwan is a hitter. We've talked about it many times. Great contact hitter, puts the ball in play, good average hitter, sprays it around, plays hard. He's an excellent base runner, not a big stolen base guy, but an excellent base runner. And he's played 4 full years in the big leagues, and he's won a Gold Glove in each season. So he has 4 years in the big leagues, 4 Gold Gloves, and he is a left fielder. That's where he has played pretty much his entire 4 years. So here's my thought. And again, none of these trades I'm saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just giving you all the ideas behind it. If you did this trade and you were the Giant, you would improve your outfield defense significantly because you play Kwan in left. And here's part. You take Elliot Ramos and you DH him. You get him off the field because his defense has not been good. Doesn't mean he can't get better defensively. I hope he does for himself, but we don't know. You put Ramos in the DH spot. You put Kwan in left field. You have now significantly improved your outfield defense. You're a much better base running team. You got a guy who fits the philosophy of what you're trying to do with your kind of non-power guys, who puts the ball in play, and he's a contact guy. And as I said, lineup-wise, you put him in the leadoff spot, maybe playing in left field every day. You're going to get glove defense. You take Ramos, you DH him. What are you guys' thoughts on that idea? Yes, no, maybe? Do you see my point? Do you think I'm being crazy? All right, let me get some because I got 3 more trades for you. So this is just the first one. See, this is good. All right. So I would only trade Eldridge if whoever we got is good and signs an extension, not Eldridge for 1-year rentals. Yeah, I agree with 1,000%. You'd have Kwan for 2 more years, and then he would be a free agent. You'd have to try to sign him to an extension. So if that's an issue, I think that's a fair issue. But yes, you want somebody who's going to be here for a while. You'd have Kwan for 2 more years, and he fits everything you like and everything the Giants want in a player to complement the guys they have kind of in the middle of their lineup. That's why I thought about this. Okay, see, now we're getting some Scrapper1734 says, nope, bad idea. Bulldog says, hell no. No for Kwan. Only if we get an extension done. Make it contingent on an extension. That's fair. I think that's fair. I think, yeah. Okay. A potential superstar for a fringe all-star. Hell no. Okay. Remember, the key word there is potential. And remember, the kind of hitter that the Giants are looking for. That's all I'm saying. That's all. But I like the comments, and so let's get on to my next idea. And this is an interesting one. Bryce Eldridge to the Minnesota Twins for Byron Buxton. 1-for-1. Eldridge for Buxton. Buxton is 31 years old. That's a little bit of an issue. Signed through 2028. So you'd have him for 3 more years. Okay. He had 35 home runs last year, 83 RBIs. He would make your outfield defense significantly better. We've seen him in center field. He's a terrific base runner. He's one of the fastest players in the league. So he would help you there. Couple of issues is he's injured a lot. That's a thing. And he's a high strikeout guy. So what you're trying to do is get away from the high strikeout guy. But I thought it was a thought. I thought it was an interesting thought. Byron Buxton. Terrific talent. To have him running around center field, that would be a beautiful thing. With the only issue is he's got to stay on the field, right? So let's see what some of the guys say. Some of the folks say, no for Buxton, older and always hurt, hard pass. That's fair. I think that's fair. That's just reality with him. Buxton said only to contenders, though. All right. So Marks is not putting the Giants in the contender category. Okay, hold on. With his first draft, Buster has shown the type of players team wants. For the right player, I don't think he'd hesitate to trade Eldridge, given you have Devers. See, I tend to agree with that a little bit. I don't think he's looking to do anything. I don't think the Giants front office is looking to trade Bryce Eldridge, but I'm saying if the right deal showed up for them, I think they would do it. I do. I absolutely think they would do it. I'm not saying they want to, but if they looked at the players they were getting and they were like, yeah, you know what? Because we have a first baseman signed for 8 years. I'm not advocating for this. I'm just saying I think the Giants would do it if the package was right. I do. All right, producer Ryan checking in. Unless it was for multiple players. So Ryan says one's not enough. He wants more. All right, that's fair. So you guys are so on my Quan or Buxton. But if you had one or the other, see, I think I would take Quan. I would take Quan. Again, not saying I would make that trade. I'm just saying something to think about, right? So here's an interesting one. I think you guys may think a little bit about this one. I got a feeling. Bryce Eldridge to the Cincinnati Reds for Hunter Green. So now we're shifting gears, and the Giants say, well, we need another ace. Can we get an ace for Bryce Eldridge? Eldridge for Hunter Green. Hunter Green is 26 years old. He has a contract, and a team-friendly contract, that runs through 2029. He would be on your pitching staff for the next 4 years. Okay? Remember, Webb is signed through 28. You'd have Green signed through 29. His first couple years, very young pitcher. And remember, he had Tommy John surgery when he was in the minor leagues. So his first couple years, kind of finding his way. But his last 2 years, 45 starts, a 2.75 ERA, a 16-9 record. And he has missed a little bit of time the last couple years with injuries, but 258 innings pitched, 301 strikeouts. The injuries a little bit, but we've seen him. The Giants saw him opening day last year, and then they saw him in San Francisco soon after that, and he was dominant. He's nasty. You know, I know the Dodgers knocked him around in the postseason in that first round. I mean, this kid's young, and I think he's just getting better. I think he will continue to get better. This to me, of all my ideas, this was the one that was the most interesting to me. Because he's really good. He's really good. And I don't know. All right, what do you guys think about Hunter Green for Bryce Eldridge trade? Let's see. I'm really curious to see, and I got to run the comment section here. So just be patient with me. That would work for both teams. Cincinnati would be a great park for Eldridge. See, I thought you guys would at least think about this one a little bit. As I mentioned in my comment earlier, and yes, you did, George, I didn't get to it. I may do it for Hunter Green. Green has a contract, 4 years for 61 left on his deal. So that's, for a guy like Hunter Green, I mean, $15 million a year. I mean, that's, interesting. As much as I hate to let go Eldridge, the move seems to solve a lot of issues and make the team much Quan, good leadoff, improved defense, high average contact bat with Ramos. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what I was thinking, even though I don't know that I would do the deal. Hunter Green, more like the type of player that would make you think hard. There you go. That's the one. Hunter Green. I'd take the deal, no question. Luke checking in and says, yep, he would do it. Mark says, I prefer Quan trade over Green. Okay, good. So it looks like the Buxton idea is out. Green or Quan. Okay, but I got one more trade for you. I don't know that you guys will like this, but I thought I wanted to get 4. This is a little. It's for another young pitcher who's very good and going to continue to get good. Let's call the Texas Rangers and say, we'll give you Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper. We'll give you Bryce Eldridge. Bryce Harper turned down the Giants, if I remember correctly. We'll give you Bryce Eldridge for Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter. Very good young pitcher. Okay. Al Leiter, Al Leiter, the old left-hander, it's his son. So we may not know as much about Jack Leiter. He's in the American League. He's with the Texas Rangers. 1 full year in the big leagues, but this kid's pretty good. He's 25 years old. He would not be a free agent until after the 2030 season. After 2030. So you'd have him 26, 27, 28, 20. You'd have him 5 more years. Okay. Last year, first full year in the big leagues, he goes 10-10, 3.86, 29 starts, 151 innings pitched. I think he's gonna be really, really good. I mean, his first full year in the big leagues. Remember, he was a very high draft pick of the Rangers. So I thought about it. I was looking for young pitchers who you'd say, yeah, you know what, boy, it'd be nice to set him next to Logan Webb and have those 2 guys together for 3-4 years. And Jack Leiter, your first couple of years, you're not going to owe him any money because he's going to be arbitration eligible. Hunter Green, there's a contract there. But, I don't scoff at the Jack Leiter thing. I know Hunter Green's a little more well-known and has pitched for a while. Leiter would be just a young guy just going into his second year this year. And that's why I thought about him. So that was my last trade, my Bryce Eldridge ideas of, would you do the deal to try to make the improvements that Buster wants to see in the offense or in the pitching staff? And would you take a young stud pitcher for Eldridge right now? I found the conversation to be interesting when I was thinking about some things to talk about, because really, we all think Bryce Eldridge is going to be a great player, but we haven't seen it. We haven't seen him yet, right? Just a little bit in September, and I think he's going to be a terrific player. I do, but I honestly do think that if somebody made an offer that fit exactly some things the Giants were looking for, I don't think there's any question that they would think about doing it. You have to. You can't say everybody's, this guy is an untouchable. I don't think you could ever say that as a GM, that anybody's untouchable. I think you have to be open to maybe trading anybody, or who knows, right? So I thought that was going to be fun and interesting, and you guys have been great. I'm going to check the comments because I really like to know what you guys are thinking. Let's see. Hard pass on Leiter for Eldridge. It's good stuff. We need a star for Eldridge, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, if somebody's willing to give you a star, and what's the definition of a star? Is Quan a star? Is Hunter Green a star? Yeah, I mean, they're all stars. I mean, if that's how you want to define it. Don't know enough about Jack Leiter. Great stuff, guy. Maybe if the 2-player package. All right. I still say Skeens for Eldridge, done deal. I think the Giants would make that trade. They would make that trade. The Pirates, I think you'd have to add on. You'd probably have to add 3 more big prospects at least. If Willie Mays can be traded, anyone can. There you go. That's actually a pretty good one to end on. But you guys, great comments. I knew you'd like that, and I knew you'd get you guys thinking about as much as the idea of trading somebody like Eldridge, really the best position player prospect the Giants have had since Posey, still you have to entertain the idea. At least I do. As an organization, I think I think you do have to at least be willing to listen. Doesn't mean you're going to do it, but somebody may give you what you want. Who knows? Who knows? So anyways, let's get to our last segment. I'm going to sneak out of this. I'm going to go to this. And just announced today was the MVP winners in both leagues. Yesterday was the Cy Young. And remember, at the end of each month this past season, I gave you the guys who I thought were the front runners for the MVP and Cy Young in each league. We did it at the end of each month. And then at the end of the year, I made my choices who I thought were the MVP in each league and the Cy Young in each league. And so let's see how I did. Yesterday, National League, Paul Skeens wins it, unanimous vote. He got all 30 votes. Not a big surprise here. I picked Skeens. And listen, this is probably going to be first of many for this guy. He's terrific. Again, unanimous. Everybody picked him for number one. Christopher Sanchez was second. Yamamoto was third. And Logan Webb was fourth in the National League Cy Young Award voting this year. So congratulations to Logan. And think about that. 2023, Logan Webb, second in the Cy Young voting. 2024, sixth. 2025, fourth. I've said it 100 times on this show. The Giants and their fans are lucky to have Logan Webb, and they should be thrilled. I mean, this guy's the real deal. So Webb finishes fourth in the Cy Young voting in the National League. Skeens is your winner. American League Cy Young Award goes to Tarek Skubal for the second straight year. 26 of 30 first place votes for Skubal. Garrett Crochet, that's who I picked to win the American League Cy Young. So I did not get that one correct. He finished second. Hunter Brown from the Astros finished third. Listen, I think you could have went either way on this one, Skubal or Crochet. Their numbers are pretty similar. Crochet led the league in innings pitched. He led the league in strikeouts. He was third in the league in ERA. He was second in league in wins. Skubal was second in innings pitched, second in strikeouts, first in ERA. So they were all over the top of the leaderboard. Crochet had 18 wins. Skubal had 13 wins. And I know wins are not necessarily they're important. How high are they on the list of what people look at when they vote? And there's so many analytics now that need to be looked at. But you couldn't go wrong either way. But Skubal is the Cy Young Award winner in the American League for the second straight year. So I did not get that one right. I picked Garrett Crochet. So let's get to the MVP winners. Starting in the National League, no surprise here. Shohei Ohtani was named just a couple hours ago the winner of the MVP in the National League. Third straight time that Ohtani has won the award. Fourth overall. So he has 4 MVP awards, does Shohei Ohtani, and all 4 times it has been a unanimous vote for Ohtani. That is very, very impressive. So the only guy that has more MVP awards in the history of baseball is Barry Bonds with 7. And Ohtani has 4 with a chance for more. So 2 with the Angels, 2 with the Dodgers. Schwarber was second. Juan Soto finished third in the National League MVP award voting. So Shohei Ohtani wins it again. And then in the American League, this was the one that I think was talked about the most, kicked around the most, had the most opinions attached to it. Would it be Aaron Judge or would it be Cal Raleigh? Great baseball conversation because really everybody. If you thought Judge, you had great points. If you thought Raleigh, you had great points. But when it was all said and done, in a fairly close vote, Aaron Judge was named the American League Most Valuable Player not long ago. Second straight year for Judge, third time in the last 4 years as he takes it over Cal Raleigh. And listen to this. Judge had 17 first place votes. Raleigh had 13 first place votes. So as I said, if 2 votes would have been different, they would have tied. They would have been co-MVP award winners, but that was not the case. So Aaron Judge wins his 3rd overall. Judge with 53 home runs. Of course, Raleigh had 60, but Judge, the overall offensive numbers across the board really favored Judge. But my pick, when I picked it at the end of the year, and remember, the votes, not my vote, but the official votes are done right at the end of the regular season. It doesn't matter what you did in the postseason because the votes are already in there. I picked Cal Raleigh. I thought he deserved to be the MVP, and my reason was pretty simple. He set a couple records, most home runs by a switch hitter, most home runs by a catcher. But I thought he was the most valuable player to his team. I didn't think there was another player in the American League that was more valuable to his team than Cal Raleigh was to the Seattle Mariners. That's why, in my opinion, I think he should have won the award. That is nothing against Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is so good. I mean, he's ridiculously good. And he deserves this just like Cal Raleigh, I think, deserves this. But again, I needed some records, and then you look at how valuable he was. Name me a player that was more valuable to his team in the American League than Cal Raleigh. Maybe a Jose Ramirez, but that's every year with him, the Guardians' third baseman. So that's why I felt like Cal Raleigh should have won. But he's gonna be at home, and he's gonna be really proud of the year he had, as he should. But it is Aaron Judge who wins the American League Most Valuable Player award. So I was 2 for 4. I took a little chance with the Raleigh thing. I think most people still felt like Judge was going to win it. And I think most people really felt like Skubal was going to win it. But, you look at, Crochet and Skubal. To me, I don't know that one was necessarily better than the other one, right? And with the Judge and Raleigh thing, there's so many ways to look at it. How valuable is a catcher? Pretty darn valuable, I think. So, but anyways, that's the voting. It's done. And a lot of the big namers out there. So anyways, so I hope you enjoyed the show. I've got a few things I want to throw out there. We're going to be busy next week, so make sure you join us. We're going to do a show on Monday. Dave Fleming from the San Francisco Giants broadcast booth is going to join us. Flem, one of the game's greats, and he's a good guy, good friend. He's going to join us, talk about what the Giants are doing, talk about his career. He does golf, he does college football, college basketball, and a terrific guy. So Dave Fleming's going to join me on Monday. On Tuesday, we're going to just do a regular show. We'll get your baseball updates, see what's going on. If there's any trades, if Giants picked anybody, is their coaching staff done? They got any new players yet? We'll do all that good stuff. We'll take a close-up look at one of the teams from the National League West, probably the San Diego Padres. Remember, I said I wanted to do a kind of a National League West preview of each team leading up to the winter meeting. So we may hit on the Padres. We'll do an NFL segment as we get close to the month of December. So we'll do that. And then on Wednesday, former Giant pitcher Jeremy Affeldt is going to join me. He's got a new book out. So we want to promote the book a little bit, talk about that, see what Jeremy's doing. We had him on this summer. Good guy, great storyteller, lots of fun. So again, the Glen Kuiper show is going to come your way next week, Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. And we'll get those times out there on my X account, my Twitter account, let you know. But so make sure you join us again next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's going to be busy, trying to get as many shows out as I can. But as always, we keep pumping out the videos. Now we're doing shorts, which are fun. A lot of people watching those. So just keep checking out the Glen Kuiper show on the YouTube channel. and we will keep throwing out stuff for you to watch. That's kind of what it's all about. So before we head out, let's check in with our sponsors one more time. Barrie-based, family-owned Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. They do it by putting your money and their money in California's multi-family real estate, and they do it very, very successfully. My family has joined the Tilden Properties investment group, and we're thrilled with that. And we're excited about the future with them. TildenProperties.com, 925-209-8558. We're also brought to you by the Carrick Real Estate Team. Contact Mike Carrick today for a free home sale or purchase consultation. Mike's a good man. He and his family have been doing this, selling homes, buying homes, and helping people make important purchases in their life. They help me. They've helped my family. And good family-run business, very, very successful. Check it out at carrickteam.com or call them at 925-548-4132. And we're also brought to you by Valone Insurance. If you're sick of being overcharged on your property insurance, call Valone Insurance. Ask for Kyle or Ron at 925-433-8271. All right, so that is it for this edition of the Glen Kuiper Show. Again, thank you very, very much to the subscribers. We hit 10,000 subscribers in 6.5 months. We did it earlier today. And you know what? I'm going to go have dinner with my wife, and we're going to celebrate. And we celebrate because of you guys. Awesome. We're all in this together. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Glen Kuiper Show. We got 3 shows coming up. Thanks, everybody. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next week on the Glen Kuiper Show. Have yourself a good evening.